Right, it is 6 p.m. December. I made it. Order, we do have a form present. We don't want signed up for a citizens forum. So on to the regular agenda, discuss, consider possible action for the appointment of following positions for a one-year term for president, vice president, secretary, treasurer.
I'll move that we report Sterling Anderson as our president, did a great job last year, and it's like, need another year more. I'll second that.
We need to vote on. You can do them all together, it's fine. Okay. Do we have a? So, do we have a recommendation for vice president?
You just.
I'm not gonna nominate myself.
I did.
Okay, yeah, so let the children for vice president. Secretary and treasurer.
Nominate Johnny Baldwin, secretary. So.
Oh, I was still all the words. And then, for treasurer. To nominate, oh, there we go, we've got another body here that was.
For treasurer. See it right.
Second?
That's second.
All right, so the motion is for Shelley Anderson for president. So vice president. Donnie for secretary and Rob for treasurer. All those in favor? Carries. So I can make a motion for all. Just individual. I got an individual. Oh. Yes, please. Okay. All right, that's okay. Item number 2, discuss, consider possible action on the October 9th minutes.
Move to approve October meeting minutes.
Motion and second to approve the October 9th meeting minute. All those in favor? Unanimous. Item number 3, review and discuss questions related to the budget report and financial statement of November 23rd.
Short and sweet, there's really not much to tell you. Collections or tax revenues if you can see it, yes. There hasn't been a whole lot of much going on, some expenses that were budgeted for with some stuff going on with Johnson Station. Laser focused on all of that. We got everything wrapped up next year. Working on others to get them working. So huge expenditures. Anything outside of the ordinary.
Question? Okay. Item number 4, discuss, consider possible action on the business plan and fund conversation 74.
Good evening, President and board members. Hopefully you all had a chance to look over this. It's a very simple business plan. It's nothing super complicated because, to be honest, we really don't know the full impact of what it's going to be cost wise. I do know that the cost of material continues to rise. I am happy to say that the crew that we hired is continuing to get it as low as we can. Well, we meet often, and we are constantly going over the potential materials that we can save on, but still make this project look elegant and dynamic. So, if you guys have any questions for me, here to answer everything.
Yep. Got a couple, but, plain catch up, so I apologize. Maybe this has already been discussed before. But from a cost analysis, we are working to that. My big question is that we are running this as a nonprofit from the city of Joshua, is that correct? So that's the entity. Will that entity be liable for all of the taxes? Property taxes?
Yes.
Workman's comp, all of that stuff as well?
Not the workers' comp, because this, we will be leasing out these,
So we will be leasing to businesses.
correct,
So they have to have a tax ID and all that.
absolutely, that's gonna be, excuse me, one of the requirements prior to leasing.
Okay, good. And then the property that we tax on the property value of the inventory will be liable to any of the business owners, is that correct?
So that I need to talk to the city attorney about that, but I do know that once an economic development entity starts collecting money like sales tax, it's no longer tax exempt.
Yeah.
So that is, as far as, once we get to that point, we will have to turn that property over taxable. It really just depends on how, I'll get the city attorney to see how we frame that and how it works. The plan is once we build it out and get it established, is for the board to sell it to an investor, let them handle it and take it on. And then we won't be incurring any of those liabilities.
Yeah, because the initial, it could be very expensive upfront, especially if it's not fully leased. So again, just a quick questions on that. What's the expectation for fully leased? Are you looking at 80%? Are you looking for 90% or?
But we know that's sometimes not feasible. I think starting, I am anticipating it to probably fill up. I would love it to be at least 70% in the beginning. Because I'm thinking we may have to start off like 3-day weekends and then build from there to see how the clientele is in. We're gonna be marketing it, bringing people in, because we really would like this to be an everyday to where they're gonna lease it monthly. That's the plan. My projections in here is the plan to lease it monthly. And then hopefully annually, get them in there permanently, just like you would leasing out any other retail entity. But this is it's a unique project.
Right.
And so the maximum size is 400 square feet. We will put a divider in the middle if somebody has little knickknackies we will put 2 doors. It is designed to put 2 doors and we can put that divider for 200 square feet. But the numbers I put in here really are reflecting 400 square feet. And just so you're aware, some of these bigger entities, they're charging a lot because it's already established and they're bringing in these big,
Right.
resource. So this comes out to like $1.25 a square foot, what we're proposing to lease it as, because we just want to get it started. And
Yeah, which
Yeah.
is wonderful.
yes,
But with the length of lease being monthly, you will expect some turnover, I'm sure.
yes,
And if you think about a 3-day week, that's 10 days out of the month that you're open to try to generate the revenue to get your $500 to pay for the
yes.
lease. I guess my big question is if we do put the money behind this, which is was a great idea, so I'm very favorable for it. But if we do put the money behind it, we just have to have some realistic expectations of the cost. The bigger one to me though is really around liability. You got a children's play area. It's similar to a city park and what that liability looks like. And then if you've got a bar where you're serving liquor, it just changes the whole dynamics behind it. Will all of that be included in the cost analysis?
So, I mean, I would love it to be, so the bar, that is the one thing that we plan on, solely leasing out and then taking the full rush as far as the TABC and all of that. as far as the kids' play area, it would be just like our city park, because we have insurance through TML. And it would be covered just like as if anybody got, and then what would go through TML. Same with the green space at the concert venue. So, I mean, to be honest with you, I'm really hoping to build this out and then sell it and us figure money back. That's really the plan, so we are not spending so much time trying to lease it out, because the concept is fantastic. It is a labor of love. There's nothing like it around, and I've had several investors that I've been talking to already that love the idea, and the area is building up around it because of it. And I'm working on right now adding that to the development that I'm working on, if that makes sense. I'm being very cryptic right now, because I can't really talk about other aspects of work. So that really is the plan. I just want to get this off the ground.
It's a basic startup cost.
So I got it down to 2.5 million. Change things up, like using crushed granite instead of full, like in the areas where we were having full concrete. The landscaping, we've changed up the landscape to save money. Instead of using shipping containers and having those outfitted, we've saved a couple $100,000 using steel, building those for us. And then we've actually increased the size on those to make them look even more dynamic, roomier. I don't know if you guys have been in a shipping container. American Steel just happens to have one, and we walked in there. I hated it. The concept is cute, but it's just very claustrophobic and very small. And so we modified our buildings a bit. So now they're going to be 40-foot long, 10-foot wide, 10 feet tall. So yeah, it's just a little freer when you walk in. But we want to keep it still small to where you keep that boutique look. And then some of these startups have a chance to get started instead of paying the $6,000, a month for brick and mortar. I don't know if you're aware, but our leasing average is $15 per square foot. $15 times 400, square feet is 6,000 a month. And that's just it's not feasible right now.
I own a couple of those, so believe me, I know.
Yeah.
The cost for the startup would be wonderful to see budgeted against that 2.5 million, just to get an idea how much in the marketing cost, how much in the tax, how much in all that. And as a nonprofit, it doesn't tax exemptions, of course, but what does that really look like? Because it would be concerning to spending a lot of money waiting for it to grow and then just to turn over and sell it. So if we had more revenue coming in earlier than that.
And the reason why you don't have that is the design build team that we hired for this project. We bidded it out and did an RFQ for it. They are constantly working on getting bids for the construction aspect. But I plan on supplying those to you whenever we get it, so you guys can get the itemized. And I'm very proud of this design build team because they understand the struggle. And they are trying to do everything they can to lower the cost as much as we can. Some we have no control over. Steel's going up, by the way. So that's why I'm trying to get this moving and locked in. I was just notified by American Steel, and they've already done a fantastic job, keeping the price low. But steel's going up.
How many units?
10.
Just 10.
10, but it'll be 20 if, it's gonna vary. There's 10 40-foot units.
Okay.
5 on each side, but those can be cut in half. It could potentially be 20 or mix, it's gonna be a mix. So that was kind of hard to do these numbers because we don't know what that's gonna be. And then some of those numbers for the leasing, if they do want that wall in, we will charge them for that. So we're not eating all of that.
Thank you.
Mhm.
This again, phase one, or is this the complete now?
Solid it. We've modified it.
Right.
From earlier, we had phase 1, phase 2 because we were marrying it.
Right,
But when we took out phase 2 to put in the event venue, the green space in the back, that's also saved us money because now we don't have to replicate all of that. And right now, we're not gonna touch the green space is already out there, there's grass out there, maybe eventually we'll, sod it. But, we want to have the idea of people bringing out their chairs and lawn chairs and sitting on the grass and watching the concerts. We don't really want any permanent structures out there. We're just gonna kind of leave it as is.
So is there anything that you are looking for tonight from us, or is this just an update?
This was an update on this, but then I'm also would like to get another lump sum of money. This starts moving forward. We are getting toward the end of the civil engineering stage. They've done the grading. And we've had some modifications on the grading that the engineer needed, so that pushed us back a little bit. So they are working with the landscape engineer, we've already been working with JSUD, we've been working closely with JSUD and running the fire flow, the fire line. We have that lift station in there. I think we figured out we can tap into Cypress Creek instead of running a whole new fire line. That was at the suggestion of JSUD to save us a little money, because it's the need for it on there is not as great as it would for like a normal development. So that being said, I need to replenish the amount that you allowed me to in the middle of this year, because it's already gone toward architects, some engineering. And we are hoping, as long as the board approves and is still happy with the way things are moving, we are hoping to break ground first quarter 2024 and really start moving dirt. And I'm gonna need money to allotted to move forward with that.
So our first lump sum was the 100,000, and you're looking for how much tonight?
Maybe a couple hundred more to throw in our little pot.
When will you be offering leases?
As soon as we really start breaking ground, I want to partner with the chamber.
Same time, yeah.
Yes, and so I want to go out and start showing our renderings and start really trying to pull in and get contracts and get some sturdy leasers in there. Now I don't want you guys to assume this is gonna be bringing in a ton of money at first. I mean, I think you guys all know how that works. It'll be slow at first, but and then we're gonna be working on, I'm focusing on doing the marketing myself. And we've already pushed it out a bit, and then I held back because so many other cities were interested, and I don't want them building this before we do. So.
We can discuss an executive session? Not.
Now, the only thing you can do in executive session on it is if he was going to be the city attorney first.
Gotcha.
So you're asking for 200,000? And that's gonna go specifically towards what?
That will go toward the finishing up of the architecture, the site plans for the engineer. And then hopefully starting the dirt work. Because we'll have to hire the equipment, the construction company. Then I'll come to you before that as well, once we get moving forward. And show you, I will bring the invoices and what we are proposing that's gonna cost. Because I want to stay completely transparent so you guys know exactly what we're spending at all times.
The safe space.
So we're gonna have, are you gonna have that in January, you think?
Have what?
Your numbers?
Probably not. Because once we get, so the reason why we projected first quarter 2024 is once the grading plan is done and all of that, then the construction company can really hit the ground running, doing the bids for all the material. So they're sending out feelers right now, but I don't know if you guys have done that lately. These quotes are only good for 3 days. So we want to make sure, and they are kind of going a little bit high, because you'd rather go high than come in too low and us do change orders every time we try to bring something in. So I'm hoping to have something to you guys by the February meeting as far as material costs.
But right now, that's a rough estimate, what you have in front of you of what this has cost. They originally were saying 3 million, and I said we need to get it down to 2.5.
Are there any potential derails at this moment? Is there an engineering concern at all or a property concern or anything like that?
No, I have not had any concerns at all. So everything's been flowing pretty smooth. And even with Jay said, we've been moving, I've met with them twice about going over running, and I think it's also pretty simple because we're not really running, the only water we're running and sewer is for the restrooms. And then we're gonna run water to the food truck area. We're not going to be supplying each container with water. Already also met with United Co-op regarding the electricity. They're gonna have to drop down wires. Those will be obviously wired into each unit. And then the street, because we have to have parking lot lights, and then we'll have to have some permanent lights along for, security, safety reasons, and so people can see. But then we're also doing the twinkly lights, the big white lights, that's not enough, so we're gonna need those security lights, and that's what my engineer also, he's doing the lighting. He's got the lighting underneath the contract and the landscaping. So it's all these factors that come together. I know it seems so simple, but when we really dive into it, there's a lot to the puzzle to put together before we can even think about breaking ground right now. And all these entities that we have to get together. And then my design build team has a meeting with United Co-op so they can go over the site plan and figure out exactly where the drop down lines are coming in and all of that. And then we got with JSUD in regards to the easement. That they're willing to share with United Co-op. So that was a big win for that. So it's like all these things come in. You have to coordinate it all before you can even break ground, if you can do any of that.
So I know we're still waiting on a possible president for the chamber, but have you had any conversation with them about this and their involvement in trying to?
Yeah. And just minor, because I don't want to overload them. Brandy's been taking on all of that plus working her real job. So we have also already had, and then the old chamber president, Mary, reached out to me saying she's been pushing this project as well. And she's had several people interested that she has given my contact to, and they're interested in leasing that out. And we can always change these numbers. These numbers are low, is for what they want to do. I'm thinking monthly. It might be cheaper for them to, even if we start doing the 3-day weekend, to charge them that $500 a month for them to open up and do the whole month. So.
So I guess I want to revisit that question I asked back in October, I believe. The taxing to our current city staff. Since we'll be taking that on until an investor purchase that, what does that look like again?
That would be me. I'm the only one. So that's why I will be getting the chamber involved. I can't do everything and then do my job still. Because I cover all of the businesses here and trying to bring more in. So that getting the chamber involved as much as possible, because they're the ones that are dealing a lot with the businesses and they've been helping with the business retention and all of that. So I have had those conversations with the chamber. They're super excited and they're 100% on board. And I think once they hire that president, I will be sitting down with that person and working that out.
Anything additional for Parks and Rec, or is basically what they're already doing? For lawn care, upkeep, grass, green space?
It will be to mow that back green space.
They're already doing it. I mean, they're already.
Yeah, I don't.
They don't maintain that, public works does. But I mean, all they do is brush off, mow it. They'll mow it, they'll have to mow it once it's done.
And then we are working on the low maintenance. I really don't want to plant any of the trees in the ground. I want to do pots that's self-watering, where you can water it once a week. I've already talked to the new parks manager about that and how, because we're kind of trying to implement the same thing in downtown. Just to make things as easy. I mean, I don't mind going out there once a week and, trying to do that kind of stuff. And working in a small city, it's all a group effort. So, again, the maintenance on that, we're really trying to keep it as low maintenance and cost effective as we can, but still keep it very pretty. And I think the containers is the way to go. It's easy, because if anything happens, we can always pull the container out, refill it, do whatever we want instead of it being in the ground. And you can maintain the soil better that way as well. So trust me, I'm doing everything I can to keep this low cost, low maintenance as best we can, but still make it extremely elegant and beautiful.
So you're looking for 200,000 tonight is what you were hoping for.
Yes, ma'am.
Do we have a motion or any other questions?
Where does money, what item does it come out of in our budget?
Sorry,
The 200,000, what line item did it come out
it
of
would come out of reserves
reserve?
of your fund balance.
And we got plenty.
Well, it depends on your definition of plenty. You have 200,000. Your fund balances right now is, Joe didn't print me off the current deal for that. It's a little bit less than that when you take this, but you're at about 1.5, 1.6.
Well, the overall balance is
Yeah.
at the bottom.
Okay, the very bottom, okay, that was.
Yeah, it's spread out over the totals dropped over to, they cut over to another page, so. The financials fled over to a second page, so she was looking for the totals drop over to another page. Okay.
Well, you don't need fund balance in this either.
Oh, okay.
Snapshot.
Did that show it? That should be close where, yeah, okay. Is there any action on this item?
Some funding for station 174.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Johnny and a second by Linda to approve funding of an additional $200,000 for station 174. Don't need to specify what it's specifically for. For the additional design requirements requested. Any questions? All those in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you. We look forward to hearing more.
Forward to filling you all in.
Item D, monthly report for November from December, December, or is this your November report?
Yeah, it could be.
November.
So I just wanted to give you a quick update on some of the things that are happening. We've been having meetings regarding the museum, and things are moving together quite nicely. We have been not as fast as we'd like to from the university, and we're trying to figure out how to solve that problem. Because right now, we are gonna be working underneath their 501(c)(3) because it's still new and it's easier. But their board only meets once a quarter. So we had a meeting last week or 2 weeks ago in regards to this and about how we're gonna have to figure out something to move forward much quicker. Because we can't, when we have very important decisions to be made, as we have created our own music. But because the 501(c)(3) is underneath the university right now, anything we do to spend money or whatever we want to decide on, we have to wait for those quarterly meetings, and we can't wait for that if we're wanting to push forward, do the fundraising, apply for grants, and so forth. So the good news is we do have the owner, the family, one of the family members that owns the bones of the Hanson family. And so she has been very productive in helping us move things forward. So that's the only, I don't want to call it an issue. The only thing that's kind of stalling us right now to move forward is for them to be proactive. So we are ready to start fundraising. As you know, this whole project is going to be funded solely by grants and donations. So the university is having an alumni weekend coming up in, I believe, February. And I think we're gonna try to squeeze in there somehow on one of their nights and do kind of a small meet and greet. We have hired an an architect, and they are gonna be working on the renderings, because of course we can't promote this until he provides some great renderings for that. So I just want to let you know, it is moving. It's moving slower than we'd like, but at least we have established the board and we've moved forward and things are going well. Once we get the green light, we're going to be hitting the ground running, fundraising and all of that. The other thing I want to tell you about is we are, and this is not a secret anymore, and I think I kind of updated you a little bit on the last meeting we had. I am working on a 6-acre retail hub. It's going to be on 174. Right now, I think there's spot for 7 entities, whether it's a restaurant, franchise. So myself and the developer's real estate agent is working on filling those as we speak. We are working through some hiccups with JSUD right now as far as timeline. So that's the only thing holding us back right now for that. So I guess they sent out now for a third party to do the hydraulic analysis, which now they're told it's going to be 4 to 6 weeks. And the developers are a little upset with that. So they're ready to move. We've been working on this for about a year, and now that they're ready to move forward, they had just said that they're having some manpower issues, and they were hiring that out to a third party engineer. So they were clarifying, they were getting the contract completed for the third party engineer, and then finding out how much it was going to cost for them to do the hydraulic study for these developers, and then passing that cost on. So we're waiting to hear from that. So now they're going to be pushed back another 4 to 6 weeks minimum. So we're ready to roll.
We just hired a new engineer and he started today. And that's part of the problem. The other one left and went back to San Antonio. So that may be the problem. He's very experienced. He's coming in from a local town in the municipal water planning. So give him the opportunity to hit the ground running, he'll get taken care of.
Can I become best friends with him?
Show up next Tuesday.
Okay, is that your meeting?
Yeah.
Okay. So are you going to be introducing him next Tuesday?
Yes.
Wonderful, okay. So that, and then we have still a lot of interest, a lot of home builders coming in. We have a lot of properties, so things are going well. Slowed down a little bit during the holidays, just because people are on vacation.
What's the latest with Taco Bell?
Oh, thank you. So Taco Bell, they are looking at within the next 60 days, they'll have their official site plan. They've had to tweak a few things. Again, they reduced their footprint to fit into that piece of property. They're hoping to maybe start demoing that house in January, last I heard. They are, the thing that was holding them up was trying to get easements from AutoZone and somebody else, I think, in order for something. So that was the last email I received from them like 2 weeks ago. They were working on the issue with acquiring easements or sharing an easement with AutoZone and someone else, I can't remember. But they were hoping, you know, within the next, they're hoping not 60 days, but to have a full site plan. And we also heard that finally Whataburger, I know we keep beating a dead horse on this one, but Whataburger has moved forward. They have finalized their site plan. They haven't sent it in yet, but they have been working with Aaron, our development services director, and going back and forth just to make sure that the site plan that they turn, there's no issues and any variances that are needed on that property, which means it's going to free up the other acreage to the south of it, which I'm hoping that they have somebody to fill that. Last I heard they did, but I'm not sure if that contract went through or not. So those, and I think that's all I have right now. Unless you have any more questions for me. Yes, ma'am.
Location of the Taco Bell.
It is going with that old yellow houses right next to 7-Eleven. Yes,
Hate to see that.
yes. I think it's gonna be a good location for
It is a landmark.
that.
It has a reputation for sure.
Yeah.
We'll have to find another place to park.
And what about the 6-acre retail hub on 70?
What about it?
Where is that?
Oh, sure, that's, do you guys familiar with the gas line property was, the big Atmos gas line property? It's kind of where Mariposa is. It's gonna be on the west side of 174. So you have Mariposa and it's kind of diagonal. And so that's kind of the holdup because there's no sewer. They're gonna have to run sewer from Mariposa, bore underneath 174 and then go down a bit. So that's kind of what they're waiting on Jason for, to get costs and figure that out so they can get their financial pro forma created to figure out how much it's gonna cost for all
So
that.
it's, so it's
So
gonna
it's
be,
not actually Jason, it's the developer to figure out it's gonna cost them to get
I
it done.
know, but they're waiting on the go ahead from you guys before they can even do that. Yeah,
so it'll be a little strip.
it'll be 6 acres full. So it's not just a strip, it's gonna be 6 acre and deep. It's gonna be several behind. I'm looking at bringing in something bigger for the back. And then kind of making it all cozy with something smaller in the front, some franchises, some fast food, some restaurants, big box store, things like that. Maybe another grocery store. So we're working on myself and Jake Petrie, which he is one of the retail that works for the developer. We've been working hand in hand, tossing around ideas and reaching out. We already have some on the hook. They're just waiting until the developer gets all that he needs so they can figure out about running that infrastructure. Any other questions?
All right, thank you, Molly. Item E, any future agenda items requested by directors to be on the next agenda? Right. Then at 6:40, we will adjourn.
Thank you.
Thank you.